An engine echoes through the darkness. A roar vibrates through Yui's body as she accelerates through a thick churning fog across a wasteland of crumbling pagodas and buildings. She passes a wrecked motorcycle on the side of the road. Not far from the bike, a rider tries to stand but collapses on a shattered leg. She can't stop. She won't stop. She needs to win. She needs to reach the... She's not sure anymore. She looks left and right as she zips past the ruins of her hometown. She passes the same rider again, trying to escape the blazing wreck. Doesn't make any sense. Nothing makes sense. A demon yells in the fog. Seems like he's right behind her, lurking in the fog, waiting to jump out at her. She maneuvers through piles of flesh and gore of fallen riders, burning and sending puffs of swirling smoke up into the darkness. She yells helplessly, and the dead, smoldering riders begin to evaporate into a column of light breaking through the darkness. A rider suddenly stands in front of her. She skids, loses control, and tumbles over the road. Her insides feel like mush. Things are broken everywhere. Cracked bones rip through her skin, spitting out black, warm fluid. She tries to rise, but a bone jutting out of her black jeans won't let her stand. Like the fallen rider she ignored, she's broken, helpless, and soaked in gasoline. Misato studies Yui closely. To dream of fog and darkness means you see yourself as an imposter, perhaps even a failure. Yui nods and absorbs her friend's interpretation. Misato sips her beer. To see light means you'll overcome whatever is holding you back. To dream of a crash or a dead end could mean the death of something you want, something you wish for. Yui sighs and doesn't know if she wants to hear all this. The demon? The Oni? Why was it chasing me? Misato nods. The Oni could mean you're struggling to maintain your humanity as you chase your dreams. That you may be torn between right and wrong, between good and evil. Misato laughs to herself as she finishes her beer. Maybe winning isn't everything. Maybe you're greedy. Maybe you're trying to swallow an ocean when a glass of water would suffice. Yui scoffs. Greedy? I'm broke and you're paying for the beers. Misato shakes a drunken finger at her. Greed isn't just about money, Yui. It's about wanting more of anything. More races, more trophies, more fame. Maybe your need to prove yourself is killing something in you that doesn't want to die. Yui sighs and downs her beer. Enough stupid talk and more drinking. Behind her dismissive smile, Yui believes her nightmare has nothing to do with ego or greed, but the anxiety of not having the money to pursue her dream. Maybe winning isn't everything. Might not be everything, but it is rent money and groceries and beer for the next few weeks if she wins the Secret Four. But before she can win, she must be given a chance to race. Shinji, the favorite, has found a way to keep Yui out of the race, convincing the organizers that a female racer would undermine the Secret Four. It's chauvinistic, barbaric, dated, but it's also her reality. They're not used to someone of her caliber. Shinji has no caliber. He cheats and humiliates and ridicules to get a psychological edge. She knows his game, and he knows he's going to have to race her one of these days. But for now, he tells them if she races, he won't. And since he's the current champ, they somehow believe they need him to attract the money. She's sitting out tomorrow's race, but she'll be there to cheer her good friend, Hiro. Shinji trash talks Yui as she fills Hiro's ears with fighting words. Fighting words, that's what her grandmother used to call them. Words with wings that filled the mind and lifted the spirit. Words. Words are more than words. They can build, they can destroy, they can empower. They can turn mice into gods and gods into mice. Shinji tells Hiro he's going to make an example out of him because he supports Yui. Hiro acts tough, but Yui sees those fear-heavy words crawling into his ear, feasting on his confidence and weighing him down. Shinji turns to Yui and makes fun of her hair, winks at her, and asks if she came to watch men ride. She doesn't dignify his shit with a comeback. She wants Hiro to win. But the termites have taken hold, and he's a shell of a rider on a bike about to crack. She whispers winning words in his ears like her grandmother used to do with her. But he doesn't know how to make those words work for him. He's lost, and the race hasn't even begun yet. 4 a.m. Yui watches Hiro speed off and take the lead. Shinji and others follow close behind. Maybe her words did help. Hiro rounds the bend. She watches Shinji race beside him and lean in. He leans in close, extends his arm, and touches Hiro's shoulder. Just touches him, not to push him or hurt him, but to annoy him, to distract him. Hiro swears, loses his focus, loses control. An instant later, he's skidding across the pavement with a wrecked bike, leaving a trail of sparks and oil. His helmet is disintegrating layer by layer against the rough pavement like sandpaper. He needs help, but the other racers speed past him, all trying to win the prize money. Hiro stands and staggers stupidly into the road. His helmet doesn't exist anymore, and his face has been razed to the bone. His mouth and lips are gone. They're just teeth where lips used to be. A shriek sends a shiver of fear up her spine as a car slams on the brakes, loses control, and hits her good friend. Yui accelerates through the fog with a red-eyed demon chasing her. She skids out of control, breaks her legs, and drags herself helplessly through the fog. Footfalls thunder toward her, shaking the ground with every step. She looks over her shoulder, but all she sees is the thickening fog. A boot crushes her hand. She looks up to face herself. Yui awakens in a hospital by Hiro covered in bandages with tubes sticking out of him. Authorities don't know it was an illegal race. If they did, they'd all end up in jail. She's not sure if Hiro can understand her, but she tries her best to comfort him. Doctor says, "You're lucky to be alive." She wants to tell him he'll never walk again, but she can't bring herself to do it. She doesn't say anything. She can't say anything. One lapse in judgment, and he lost everything. Could happen to anyone. Yui closes her eyes, and for a moment imagines a world where she hunts that bastard down and kills him like a dog. Misato delivers some good news while they walk towards their favorite noodle dive. The organizers want her to race the Secret Four. An unknown benefactor wants to see what she can do. Rumors echo of a billionaire wanting to help lifers realize their dreams. None of it makes sense. Yui feels many things right now, but an overpowering need to put Shinji in his place distracts her. But she knows she must put the mental lens of her focus on winning. Not payback, not vengeance, not even gossip or trash talk. Everything on winning. Not just to impress an eccentric billionaire, but to pay the rent and grocery bills. Yui walks up a mountain path she recognizes and sees a woman standing at the edge of a precipice. She reaches out to the woman, knows something's wrong. The woman turns to her slightly, and Yui realizes she's staring at an older version of herself. Gray hair, bloodshot eyes, tears streaming down her face. Older Yui stares at younger Yui with longing. Then older Yui shakes her head, turns, and jumps. Younger Yui rushes to the edge and stares down at countless bodies busted and broken over jagged rocks. All of them her. She has sudden flashes of a life she doesn't recognize. A life where she never left Hida or pursued her dream. A life where she became a teacher like her father. None of it makes sense. She covers her face with her young hands and screams, and suddenly wakes up in her bed, lying in a pool of sticky cold sweat. Misato smiles at Yui. Maybe it was a dream. Maybe it was a glimpse into another world, a world where you take a completely different path. In one, you become a vengeful red-eyed brute, and in another, a coward that doesn't follow her dreams. Yui shakes her head. I don't believe in any of that multi-world magical bullshit. Misato scrunches her face when she hears magic. Not magic, quantum. Quantum bullshit. Misato munches on peanuts and sips her beer. If it's a dream, it probably has something to do with something you are moving away from, something you left behind. What do the cliffs signify? Yui remembers a moment with her grandmother. She remembers she was at a recreational center with her friends and cousins. She lost a relay race because her best friend stopped to see if their competitor was okay when he tripped and fell. Her teammate helped the boy up while another team took the lead and won the race. She was furious and they hadn't spoken for weeks. Yui remembered going to the precipice where they liked to talk, hoping she would be there, but she wasn't. Her grandmother went up to see her and listened to her side of the story and sided with her friend. Yui vaguely remembered the talk. Her grandmother sat beside her, staring below the jagged rocks, laughing nervously. "You love danger, and more than danger, you love winning. Always have, always will. But winning isn't everything, Yui. Tell me, what's the use of winning if you lose all your friends? Who are you going to share your victories with?" Yui laughs at this and calls her best friend weak. Her grandmother places a concerned hand on her shoulder. "She's not weak. I would say she's quite the opposite, to sacrifice winning to help someone in need. Empathy is what makes us human, and if you lose this, you are just a very good machine that wins. What does it matter if you gain the world if you lose your humanity?" Yui closes her eyes and knows her grandmother is right. And yet, there's something inside her that hates to lose, that refuses to lose, something that will drive her to win despite it all. A thing that brings out the best and worst in her. Engines rattle and roar in an endless cacophony as Shinji messes with Yui. Everyone wants the jackpot and she needs this money more than ever. She's been working as an assistant English teacher at a high school, but it's barely enough to get by, let alone fix her bike. Her bike feels sick. She used to love the sound of her bike, but recently she's noticed a change. A few notes are off, and the sound just doesn't travel through her body the way it used to. All these engines singing their unique song and her bike singing something strange and off. She needs the prize money, and the sponsorship of a billionaire wouldn't be so bad either. Last thing she'll do is let this fool disrupt her focus. She smiles at him after he levels an insult at her and threatens to run her off the road. Yui meets his gaze. "You'll try, but you'll crash and burn just as soon as you do." She says it with the weight and certainty of a curse. Shinji tells her she should stay out of this one and let the men race. She knows what he's trying to do. He's trying to disrupt her, get in her head, change the vision of victory in her mind. He tells her the race is his. She flashes a smile. "Not while I'm alive."